Hi, so glad you dropped by today for the sample cards that I've created that you too can create and hopefully be inspired. My name is Lynda Phippen. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Ontario, Canada. So let's just get started. So today's cards that we can make together is from the mini catalog that runs from January to June of this year. And then there's another catalog that will come out that will be bigger and include most of these stamps. But today we're going to do this. It's called Soar Confidently. And it has a very vintage look to it. And let's see what we can create. So this is the stamp set, Soar Confidently. And it has the 3 stamps, vehicles of transportation, and some sentiments that go with it. And I've added, use this mountain air, I've added some trees to one of them and some mountains to the other. And these 2 stamp sets that I've used, I'm only using the birds from each one. So although these are lovely sets, I only want the birds for today. So let me get our stuff together. This is the first card we're going to create. Soar confidently in your own sky. Pretty neat. Okay, and I'm going to use the Stamparatus. And here are all my supplies. The paper that we're going to use is Balmy Blue, and the stamp as well. The main card is Balmy Blue, and so is the stamp. So let's get all organized here. I have 2 sheets, one for the inside and one for the outside. And the first thing we're going to do is make some clouds. Now in the catalog, it shows in the corner tiny little piece of acetate or something to make the clouds. So I decided I would just make my own, and as you can see, it's just a divider that's a thin plastic, and I cut it out to make what I interpreted as clouds. But you know, when you look outside at the clouds, every cloud is different, and you can make your own clouds and they will be perfect. So again, we're using the blending brushes, and the first thing you need to do is, because it gets a little messy, so we're going to do 2 of these, one for the inside and one for the outside, and take off just a little bit of the ink until you feel comfortable, and you just go back and forth. And sometimes you don't think you have any ink, but then as soon as you move your paper, you see the difference that you've created. And as I'm looking outside at the clouds today, you know, no 2 clouds are the same. And they even change as I'm looking out the window. So again, there's any cloud that you want to do will be perfect. And even if it moves, it doesn't matter. Now the last one, I thought I would try to do the reverse of the clouds, but it's hard to keep a handle on it. So I discovered with my practicing is that you just need to do a little brushing in there, and it looks wonderful. So there's the first one. Pretty neat. So I'm going to do a second one because it's going to be on the inside, and might as well do them when we have the same color. And you see how quick this is. And you can do as many or as little clouds as you want. And then the last row of clouds, I just put some ink on and fill it in. So there we go, the front of the card, and this is going to be the inside of the card. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Stamparatus, and I like to use the Stamparatus when I might possibly have to do a second stamping, and then it can be lined up perfectly. So I just get my magnets in place, just double check that I've got it in the right place, and I will just move it over. Let me see here. Oh, that was much better. I might even move it over just a tiny bit more. And then and again, we're working with the Balmy Blue. And I discovered this little tool. It's for making fondant and smoothing it out. I found it at Walmart, but we're not going to make a cake. But sometimes when you need to press, this just seems to be giving it a more even, an even pressure. And there we go. Well, I think I'll do it one more time here. There we go. Now, if you look close at this stamp, you can see two people in this hot air balloon. I don't know, it's not very easy to see, but anyway, it's very, very neat. I don't know, I've never been in a hot air balloon. I think I prefer an airplane, but it's okay. Okay, so we'll take that out. And I have the okay, so there's the card, base and black. And I just realized that when I did this, I had stamped it in black, but that's okay. As I say, no mistake is really a mistake. It's just an inspiration. So this is to give you an idea of two different ways you can stamp it. Now I cut this base 1/8 of an inch smaller than the base, which was a little tricky to figure out, but it can be done. Our math skills need to come into play. And so here we go. The next layer. Again, 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And then on the inside, we're going to put our inside base, and I think it looks really neat with the clouds in there as well. You can write whatever you want. Certainly, you could stamp happy birthday. Now for this one, I put some birds on the inside, and I'm going to use my black. And these are the birds from the high tide. So I just put a few in the top, a few in the bottom, and I thought they looked quite nice. There we go. Card number 1. You can take a look. We'll just put some enamel dots around our sentiment the same as I did before. Now, which one do you think you like? The light blue, the balmy blue, or the black? There we go, and cannot forget the envelope. So I think for this one, I'm going to put one cloud across. And my birds. We'll put some more birds on there. And there is card number 1 done. And I put on the back of my cards, made for you by me, 100% Canadian. And that's what I put. My Hallmark stamp is on it. Okay, card number 1. And again, that was with the Balmy Blue color. So I switched up the colors a little bit because we have 3 different vehicles, mode of transportation. The second card I did with Pacific Point and Shaded Spruce. And this is what the card looks like. So the first thing we're going to do is the clouds. And I'm going to use my my brush that I used to make this. So you bring out the stencil again. And I'm going to put this card over here. Now this is a little darker, which is fine. You just decide how much darkness you want on it. And if you find it's too dark, just lighten your pressure on your brush. Okay, there's one for the outside and one for the inside. I just take a little bit off my brush so that you don't get a big glob of darkness with your ink. Okay, so when I did this, I stamped it even in the Pacific Bay, but I think I'm going to do the black. And I'm going to use the Stamparatus. So we'll change our mode of transportation. And we'll do the blimp. And I'm going to use the same sentiment. And we'll just line it up so we'll get the clouds in the right direction. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put that up a little bit more because we're going to put some mountains on there. So again, the nice thing about using the Stamparatus is that if you miss spots on your paper, that you can do it again. So I'm just going to do it one more time, just to get a clear look on it. Very nice. And we'll take that off as well. So we're going to do trees on this one. And I don't want a lot of the trees showing because we wanted it to be up high. And I think I'm going to And because this stamp is going to go over, I'm just slipping a piece of paper under there. And the Shaded Spruce, let's see. So we just stamp it on there, and we'll decide if we need a second stamp. Perfect. Okay. And this one, the birds that I used are just a couple birds from the other set that I had mentioned, which is Sailing Home. And they only have 3 birds on it, so that's fine. Okay, and I think I'll use them in black too. Okay. So this is all of these stamps are very versatile. So you can either make it a side open or a top to open. So I think I'll do the side, and I will put a black base on here as well. Black is always a nice background. Okay, and the normal dots can go on the beside the sentiment. And then we put the inside with our clouds. So when I started this card, I can see outside, and there was just a few fluffy clouds, and now it's almost entirely clouded over. And those clouds should have gone the other way. Oh well, we'll change that later. So there's another card, our second card. And our final card is the airplane. I use Night of Navy and my memento. Now I know I made this card with mountains on the bottom, which just doesn't seem to be here, but we're going to put our mountains on the bottom there as well. So we'll get our Stamparatus out again, get our vintage airplane out. After we put our clouds on. Okay, so the clouds again look a little different on this card because I've used even a darker color. So you can really decide how dark or light you want your cards, your clouds. And I'm going to use this one. Okay, so this is Night of Navy. And the clouds are a little darker. You know, if you've ever had an experience sitting by the window in an airplane and you look out when you're up really high and you can see the clouds, it is so amazing. So let's pretend that we're all able to go on a beautiful holiday and fly in an airplane above the clouds. Isn't that a nice thought? I think everyone's ready for a holiday. But for now, we will just continue to play with our crafts and dream of times when we can travel, which hopefully is very soon. Okay, so to front and back. Oh, there it is, the one with the mountains on the bottom. Oh my word. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is put on the airplane. And I've lost the airplane stamp. Oh, there it is. Oh my word. I think I had a lot to think about in the day. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put our airplane up nice and high. We are going to put the same sentiment. I like this sentiment for these particular cards. Okay. Now these ones, I stamped everything in navy. So let's see how this turned out. And my handy fondant tool. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. Ah, perfect. Okay, now before I remove my card here, point these off. I'm going to get the mountains. Stick them on the bottom, and again find a piece of cardstock just to go underneath so we don't get our foam pad all messy. So how's that look? Voila! We have mountains. So wipe this off. Okay, we are done with the Stamparatus. We'll put this down here. We'll put the card together. Now, this time I used some designer paper just to be a little different. Except it's not going to fit on that one. There, fits on this one. Okay, so now you don't get to see much of the design, but you know, it's just a little distraction there. If we can get it on properly. There we go. We need a few birds. And I'm going to stick with the Night of Navy on here. You really don't want your airplane to fly into the birds. It'd be disastrous. But they're smart enough to stay above the plane, so we're good. Okay, now I wanted to show you that Stampin' Up! Has these square foam pieces that you peel and stick. I didn't want to open my package yet, but I have some just craft foam that I use on my cards to give it again some dimension without using a whole bunch of our cute little dimensional pieces. So I stick it on the back, and then I stick it onto the card base. So it gives it a little bit of a dimension. Okay, I will put the black enamel dots on these. And I think that makes a very nice masculine birthday card, any kind of a card that you would like. So here we are, our airplane, our flip, and oh my goodness, Lynda. Okay, there we go. I'm so sorry. There we go. So I hope you enjoyed those cards. Maybe there we go. Take the little light off. And thank you for joining me. I hope you were inspired and that you learned something new today. And I hope you have a great week. And I will see you again next week with something else that I've learned during the week or some knowledge that I can pass on to you. So have a safe and happy week, and we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.